As a matter of fact, marriage is a relationship in which we get to know the true evil face of our partner. It is unclear to me why before marriage we were not able to see their deficiencies, but I am certain that after marriage, everything came into focus. I would like to mention a few things before we get started. The best way to stay in touch with the channel is to hit the bell icon and click the subscribe button at the top of the channel. I would like to refer my ex-wife as Karen. She's 26 years old and I'm 30 years old. The meeting was a bit different from what we were expecting, but at least we got to meet. I work in a basketball court as a sound engineer. I saw Karen coming over with her friends to cheer up her respective team. In fact, her boyfriend who was playing in that team was a member of that team. During the first few days, I did not notice her at all. In one instance, I was rechecking the system before the match, so she was passing me and said hi to me as she stared for a while and then went away. On that day, I began to notice her properly for the first time. There was something pretty about her. It was impossible for me to take my eyes off of her all day long. It might be that she was impressed by the strength of my physique, since I had a jacked one on that time when I worked all the time at a tea store. After the match, I observed her kissing one of the players, which was the boyfriend of one of the players. I decided to forget about it, so I forgot about it. I had the thought that she might have a boyfriend and might be saying hi casually to me when I walked in. The thought came to my mind. After that day, I completely forgot about this and never thought about it again. It took me about 23 days for the tournament to be end. For the next 23 days, I remained there. Several days after the match, I saw her crying in the street. It was impossible for me to refrain from going over to her and asking her what had happened to her. The first thing I did was ask her a question, but she did not answer, so I handed her the bottle of water that I had. She sipped at the drink for a few seconds before saying something. She was dumped by her boyfriend in front of everyone, and he insulted her in front of everyone. I said my apologies, for it was sincere, but if he insulted you, what is the point of crying? The reason he doesn't deserve you is that he doesn't respect you at all. In order for him to be able to date a pretty girl, he would have to be able to respect her. As soon as she realized that she was feeling good, she embraced me and thanked me for my support. It was from here that our friendship began. She was a student in the final year of her economics degree program. In the following weeks, we started meeting on a casual basis. She had broken up with her boyfriend, but she still comes to meet me even because I was working there till last day. During the last day, I asked her to hang out for a little, since it was the last day for us. We ended up going to a musical concert together after she agreed to do. The experience was very enjoyable for her. There's something I noticed about her, that she always tried to avoid discussing her personal life with me during our discussions. Then I asked her what the reason was for this. She replied that her father was a drug addict and they live in Wisconsin, so she left him for good and she does not want to talk about her past. Therefore, I apologized and told her that this would be the last time I asked her. During the course of time, we became closer and closer to each other. One day, I took her along with me to my house with the intention of showing her what my life was like. I had a very large property that I owned. This was a gift of my father that had left for me when he passed away. In her opinion, it was one of the most impressive things she had seen. Our friendship developed into love over the course of time as our relationship developed. As of now, we were dating each other. She had completed her degree in a year now and had started working as soon as she had finished her degree. The two of us got married after dating for more than a year and a half. The relationship between a man and a woman is the one that grooms us more and makes us happier than anything else in our lives. My perspective on this prospect turned out to be wrong. However, it was a very happy time in our lives after we got married. However, at the age of 32, I was diagnosed with lung cancer, which is almost the end of my life. This happened to me very suddenly and severely, and I do not know how it happened to me. In the beginning, Karen supported me and was always there to take care of me in this situation. After I started my chemotherapy treatment, I also noticed that there was some symptoms appearing on my personality, such as getting bald, red eyes, red spots all over my body, blood in my vomit, and some other symptoms. Until this bad news came, our life was great, and she always tried to spend time with me. And according to her, I was very hot for her. As a result of the diagnosis, I felt like we had started hating each other or did not like each other anymore. With the passing of time, I was getting weaker as a result of the disease I was suffering from. There is no doubt that the disease had an adverse effect on my bedroom life as well. Therefore, that was one of the reasons why she stopped liking me. After a while, she began to get ready much more than she normally would. It was as if she was going to meet someone because her appearance changed. Despite the fact that I asked her many times, she did not share any information with me. There is always something rude about her, and she always behaves rudely to me. It was mentioned to me a number of times by her that my body was shrinking. As a result, she complained to me about this issue without thinking logically, but the fact that I had no control over it. In any case, there were a few activities that she was doing that were suspicious in nature. In the middle of the night, she would often leave the room whenever she received a phone call during the middle of the night. It wasn't uncommon for her to start her dinner outside whenever she decided to have it. Other than that, we always had dinner together at night when we were together. On one side of the coin, I was worried about my health. On the other hand, I was becoming increasingly irritated by her aggressive behavior and tone each day. Regardless of all that, I was just tolerating everything just because I loved her and I was aware of her childish nature, so I thought that she would become mature with time. I had been undergoing treatment for the past 3 months. With the passage of time, my performance improved quite a bit. It was also a great feeling for me to be feeling so healthy. I was then contacted by one of my childhood friends who was also a close neighbor and worked in DEA. That was also a childhood friend of mine. We were very open and honest with each other. When I received his call, I was in the pharmacy at the time. I was asked about Karen by him during the course of our conversation. I found the tone in which he was speaking quite strange. I then asked him, "Yes, she is fine, and why are you asking this question to me?" As he told me last Wednesday, he had seen her in a restaurant. Then I asked him what's special about her, and he said that she must have a friend or something of the sort. In spite of his hesitancy, he said that he has seen her kissing at that time. It is for this reason that he said he asked me. Upon asking him if it was Karen, he replied that he was sure. There was no doubt in his mind, he said. After a while, he began to obsess over her. Upon learning from my friend what I had been taught, I was very angry. It was now time for me to return home. From a very small distance, I was about to reach home when I saw her get into the car and drive away. Due to the fact that I was already angry at her, I followed her. In the course of following her for some time, she eventually reached a pub, the place where she went into to meet the person with whom she was having an affair. In the middle of that conversation, I suddenly approached her and confronted her while she was sitting with that person. It was true that she was astonished after watching me. Then when I shouted and made a scene, she began to talk about how she did not feel for me anymore and that I am getting into a bad shape of my body and she did not find me attractive anymore. It was therefore possible for her to find someone else who was willing to satisfy her. In addition, the guy also looked as if he was a wealthy individual. Her meanness, however, had nothing to do with money. It is not clear to me what she needs. It was a very disgusting feeling that I became aware of the fact that I had this disease that day, and I cursed myself for having it. I was cheated on by my wife as a result of this. Anyhow, I suddenly went home, and once I reached home, I gathered up all her luggage and threw it out of the house. As soon as she came home after a few hours, she asked me what I was doing and why I was doing it. As soon as I informed her that she would be receiving the divorce papers, She became lost. Due to our separation, I wonder if she was much more happier than she used to be. On the day of leaving her, her attitude was very positive and she seemed to be in a very good mood. She had already prepared herself for this day a long time ago. As soon as she left, I felt as if I had been broken. It is always in my mind when I think back to the moment when I found out that she had been cheating on me. Because of this, I was now getting mentally tamed because of it. Since she was the first girl I ever loved, I stayed loyal to her all the time from beginning, but she did not give a shit about her decision to move on from me. With each passing day, I was becoming more and more sentimental, as well as becoming very angry like a crazy person. The therapy sessions were being taken by me, so I began to attend them. I would like to find a solution to this problem. As a situation grew out of control, it was getting worse and worse. There was one thing that always stuck in my mind about the way she disrespected me and my love, and in short, I wanted to take revenge on her for this. When my friend came over to see me, she was surprised to see that I was in the worst condition of my life. It was not clear to him what had happened to me at the time. I did not know about any of this because I was getting too much alone after this all, so I did not inform anyone about it. As a supporter, he was very hopeful. In my story, I told him everything from the beginning to end. As well as that, I asked him for a favor from him. My mental condition will never be fine until I'll never be able to take revenge on that slut, until I do get revenge on her. He asked what favor he could do for me. It was then that I told him that in order to take revenge on her, I would need his help. Once again, he asked me what he could do for me and what he would offer me. My plan came to me once I told him I wanted to punish her for what she had done in this matter, so I told him what I had come up with. It would be great if you could catch her in a drug case for me. Are you serious when you say that? He asked me. The answer to that was yes. Do whatever plan you have and fuck her life as soon as possible. I am suffering from a lot of pain because of her thoughts. Initially, he refused to help me out, but after begging him for help, he finally agreed to help me out. It was in that regard that he deceived a plan to get her jailed as a result of his plan. It took him some time to plan everything out. Despite the fact that he was honest, he was compelled to do this task because of me. Anyhow, after a week, he came over and told me that he had investigated her and now he had every detail about her in his possession. As far as we know, she lived in a house with a man. However, they are not married to each other. As I told him, all he need is to capture her and let the man go. Afterwards, he said okay, and he then explained to me his plan, which was a fake raid that was planned. During the night, he said that he would wait for her to arrive at the house. The DEA team will break into the house, and when they check her luggage, he'll put a bag of cocaine in it, and on the basis of that bag, he'll arrest her for possession of cocaine. After 2 days, they were able to perform this operation. As far as his plan is concerned, it was the same as what he told me about it. In a call he made, he informed me that the woman was sentenced to spend 5 years in prison. During that day, I felt a bit more relaxed than usual. In a few days, I went to see her in jail, and I revealed this to her, that it was me who got her in jail in the first place. In order to fuck her destiny, I made my way to the plan. That was punishment she received for her action. When she heard this, she started crying and cursing me, but I started laughing. I felt for home and went home after listening to this. Upon returning home, there was a real feeling of relaxation and relief that I was able to release my mental stress. In celebration of my success, I went to my friend who was my idea.